the focus for today, focusing on the forthcoming screening of the ministerial nominees. Yes, the second batch, as has been reported, Senate has received that. But we're joined this morning by Senator Inaya Baribe, who is a member of the PDP. Morning, and thank you for joining us today, Senator. Well, just before we get into this ministerial nominees, I mean, we saw the headline concerning your election. Some are of the impression that he's been nullified. Could you explain what exactly happened?
Well, the problem we have there is that even the lawyers are confused about the ruling. The judge said that the election is inconclusive, and therefore that some units in my local government, being one and adjoining local government, that there will have to be a rerun. Well, that's not a problem. You want me to do a rerun in my local government? That's very, very good for me. But when it's inconclusive, nobody could say exactly what it means. So I guess the lawyers are going to have to deal with that. But they're still waiting for the to study the judgment and know,
So what happens? That would be what, the usual 90-day window?
Oh yes, that's what it means. Whenever somebody says there's a rerun, usually it's 90 days. For an appeal, it's 21 days before you can gap you're given to now do the appeal. So all in all, we are just not bothered about it.
So what you will appeal before you go for the rerun?
I really don't think so. We're really not bothered. If they want to do an election 100 times, in my local government, and some units. So until we see which particular units they're talking about and what that means, then, and then of course, maybe they will have an interpretation of what inconclusive means, because we thought inconclusive is always when you're doing the election and then you couldn't find out who is a winner or who is not a winner. But that is left for the regular parts.
So are you going to be in the chambers today?
Yes, of course. Okay. My election was not nullified. They just said it was inconclusive. What was that supposed to mean? And besides, whenever you do election, until there's an appeal or there's this thing, you're deemed to still be there.
Okay. Yeah. The big focus now, the ministerial list.
Yes.
Tell us, what do we expect from the Senate today?
I think the Senate President has specified and made a clarification on what needs to be done. I think when he led a delegation on a condolence visit to Ikene, which, for HID Awolowo, and he said that we are going to be guided strictly by the Constitution. So the Constitution has some, provides the, basic guide for which we do. We do have some conventions, because what we're building is an institution of the National Assembly, the Senate, and the House of Reps. And so we'll be guided by those things, but we are clearly not going to do anything beyond what the Constitution mandates us to do.
Does that suggest, because many ask, why is it important now to stress the Constitution? The Constitution has always been there, but you were a member of the 7th Senate and now the 8th, wherein your House rules came to play at different times, and the members in some cases waived some of those. So why just highlighting the Constitution now?
Well, let's just say this, and I'm speaking as somebody who has been in the 6th Senate, in the 7th Senate, and now in the 8th Senate, that all these conditions that you see and you hear about has always been there, has always been used. I think because of the whole hula balloons, surrounding the length of time it took before we got this set of nominees, and the fact that people were waiting to see whether they would bring saints, the angels, or whatever, and now they are saying the same old regular guys, and so that whole thing and the whole hoopla is why there was this emphasis, I would say, on whatever conditions that we are supposed to use in screening. There's nothing new. It has always been there. The constitutional provisions, our conventions and our rules, and then, of course, even the matter which somebody was pointing out yesterday about asset declaration. That's always been part of the documentation that every nominee must bring, because once you're nominated, before you come, part of what you should bring is an acknowledgement slip from CCB saying that, but maybe because all these things are in focus now, that's why there is...
this is bringing a lot of attention because of what the ad hoc chairman on media has said of the Senate, Senator Dino Malai, when he did say, well, the nominees will have some kind of endorsement from 2 senators from their state of origin, which has made so many Nigerians to comment on. What do you have to say, going by what we have seen lately, that the senators maybe seem to have distanced itself from that particular comment made by Senator Malai?
No, I don't think our chairman, ad hoc chairman on media was wrong. He has always been the convention, and I've told you that we have some conventions, not really part of the rule, that anybody who is a nominee ought to be in tune with the senators from his state. Ordinarily, if you look at what happens in the U.S. Senate, when you're a nominee, the person who introduces you to the Senate when you're coming for a hearing is the senator from your own constituency. So you're supposed to be in tune with them. That's what happens everywhere. And that is part of the culture that we have tried to imbue here, that you cannot be a nominee from a state and the nominees, the senators from your states are unaware of how you're coming, and they are the people taking you around, and it's just a convention. Sometimes we may overlook it because you are a nominee for the federal government of Nigeria.
And not for the state.
Precisely.